I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories: Malaysia secures reduced 19% tariff rate without compromising key policies. And 4-year-old boy dies after falling from 8th floor. Good morning. Malaysia has successfully negotiated a reduction in U.S. tariffs to 19% effective August 8 without compromising any of the country's core policies. The agreement covers key areas such as excise duties on vehicles, alcohol and tobacco, as well as limits on foreign ownership in strategic sectors and halal certification standards. Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdulaziz said Malaysia remained firm throughout the negotiations, especially on matters tied to national interests.
Dasar-dasar utama negara kita ni tidak terjejas lagi mengenai kedaulatan negara. Kerana automotive industry is seen as very important to the US. Why are we imposing? So that was the red line to us. So we continue to have the excise duty.
He stressed that the local automotive industry, which supports nearly 700,000 jobs, must be safeguarded. Malaysia also turned down the US request to abolish foreign shareholder equity limits in certain strategic sectors and refused to grant blanket import license exemptions for American products. Zafrul stressed that Malaysia was equally firm on halal certification standards.
What we have agreed with the US is to facilitate the process of importation of the halal meat to Malaysia, but not compromise on the halal standards of those importation.
He clarified that certification will only be issued by US-based halal bodies recognized by Malaysia's Department of Islamic Development, or JAKIM. Meanwhile, Malaysia has agreed to purchase additional Boeing aircraft from the US as one of the conditions for a reduction on tariffs on Malaysian imports.
But we reinforced that commitment. One is the Boeing aircraft purchase. I think we had an event where Prime Minister launched the commitment to purchase 30 big Boeing aircraft in the first phase, about $9.5 billion US dollars. But we also commit to additional 30 Boeing aircrafts for the second phase.
Back in March, the Malaysian Aviation Group was reported to have placed an order for 30 Boeing 737 aircraft over the next 5 years through to 2030. In addition, Malaysia has also agreed to have 6,911 lines with zero tariffs, mostly from the industrial sector. This amounts to 61% of the total 11,260 tariff lines requested by the United States. Meanwhile, the Madani Backbenchers Club, or BBC, lauded the US tariff cut on Malaysian exports as a key victory of strategic diplomacy and a result of the country's firm stance on policy. In a statement, the BBC said the outcome was achieved after much effort, after Malaysia voiced its concerns loudly and concisely. It said the government's insistence on safeguarding Malaysia's core industrial policies, including support for domestic enterprises, national strategic industries and inclusive economic development, was central throughout the negotiations. The BBC also commended the Prime Minister for defending Malaysia's national interests while keeping the door open to meaningful trade engagement with one of the country's largest partners. Looking ahead, the BBC said it would continue to support the Prime Minister and the Cabinet in driving structural economic reforms and exploring market diversification. The United States' decision to grant Malaysia a 6% reduction in reciprocal tariffs is seen as a positive signal of strengthening bilateral ties, particularly in trade relations moving forward. Economists believe this move could serve as a foundation for future negotiations aimed at securing deeper tariff reductions. Professor Geoffrey Williams said the announcement puts an end to lingering uncertainty and opens the door for potential tariff reduction talks in the future.
This is important because the Trump administration has indicated that trade negotiations are an ongoing process, and it is possible to reduce the tariff further in the future if concessions can be made on both sides. And in order for us to understand whether the concessions are worthwhile, we need to know what the concessions are.
Similarly, economist Muhammad Afzan Nizam Abdul Rashid noted that Malaysia could pursue further tariff reductions given that the United States still upholds globalization and fair trade principles.
This reflects the willingness of the US government to come and negotiate and be able to reach certain agreements that would work well for both parties, and perhaps this can be a template for future negotiations, which perhaps can bring to a better deal in the form of lower tariffs.
Now for a deeper insight into the potential impact of the U.S. tariffs, we're joined by the Treasurer General of the Associated Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia, Datuk Kung Lin Lung. Datuk, how much of a boost do you anticipate this will provide to Malaysia's export to the U.S.?
We noted there is a tariff cut from the export of Malaysia to U.S. That is from 25% to 19%. No doubt there is a modest cut of this 6%, but it's a good boost to the Malaysia exporter, especially if their products is a very tiny margin or the pricing is very competitive. I think this tariff cut will benefit our exporter in the sector of the E&E, rubber products, some of the timber products such as the furnitures, not forgetting the medical appliances and some of the solar appliances. I think this cut will definitely renew Malaysia export opportunity to this U.S. market.
And Datuk Kung, what about the impact on local small and medium enterprises, SMEs? Do they have the capacity and support to take advantage of this lowered tariff barrier?
In respect of Malaysia SME, in this era of tariff cut from the 25% to 19%, I think Malaysia SME also benefit from this cut. No doubt it is a modest cut of 6%, because this cut will enable the Malaysia SME to stay competitive to export their products to the US. On the other note, Malaysia SME also need to beef up the capacity to be the supply chain of the giant exporters such as E&E, rubber and oil palm products, and the medical devices.
Thank you, Datuk Kung. Moving on, following the announcement, the American-Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, or AmCham, sees it as a step forward in maintaining Malaysia's competitiveness amid global uncertainties. In a statement on Friday, AmCham applauded the Malaysian government for their tenacious efforts in negotiating for a reduction. The association said the new tariff rates will pave the way for closer collaboration as well as increased growth and investment in both countries. AmCham added that it will work closely with relevant stakeholders to foster deeper engagement and safeguard the bilateral trade relationship. Earlier, the White House announced a reduction in Malaysia's import tariffs through a new presidential order dated July 31st. The document, which outlines broader changes to the U.S. reciprocal tariff framework under Executive Order 14257, was published on the official White House website. The announcement followed a phone call between Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and U.S. President Donald Trump, during which they discussed the tariffs and the current regional landscape. During the conversation, the Prime Minister reiterated Malaysia's position in support of free trade, a principle that remains central to the country's economic policy. Malaysia's 19% tariff rate is now among the lowest in ASEAN. The same 19% rate also applies to Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines and Cambodia. Vietnam's tariff was lowered to 20%, a significant drop from the original rate of 46%. Brunei, however, which saw a slight increase, is now subject to a 25% tariff, up by 1% from before. Laos and Myanmar continue to face the highest rates in the region at 40% each. Meanwhile, Singapore's tariff remains unchanged at 10%, despite the United States recording a trade surplus with the country. Meanwhile, Trump also slapped steep tariffs on exports from at least 70 trading partners, including Canada, Brazil, India, and Taiwan. Under a presidential executive order, duties now include 35% on goods from Canada, 50% for Brazil, 25% for India, 20% for Taiwan, and 39% for Switzerland. The order also imposed import duties ranging from 10 to 41% on 69 other countries. Meanwhile, goods from other countries not listed will be subject to a 10% U.S. import tax, which Trump previously warned could rise even higher. Most of the announced tariffs will not go into effect until August 7th, except for tariffs on Canada, which takes effect on August 1st. Now, residents at flat Sri Perantau in Port Klang, Selangor were left in shock on Friday when the body of a young boy was discovered on the ground floor of the building. The 4-year-old is believed to have fallen from the 8th floor of Block J. The child was found face down by residents at the parking area below. According to Klang South District Deputy Police Chief Superintendent Kamal Arifin Aman Shah, the incident was reported to police at 8 a.m. It is believed that the child's father was at work at the time while his mother had stepped out to send another child to the babysitter. Neighbors reported hearing a loud sound followed by shouts from residents, which drew a crowd to the scene. The boy was rushed to the Tengku Ampuan Rahimah Hospital but was pronounced dead upon arrival. Police have opened an investigation paper under the Child Act 2001 for child neglect. Idmax System Berhad's 70% owned subsidiary Cellmax Sdn Berhad has been appointed by Subang Jaya City Council or MBSJ to operate and manage the Selangor Intelligent Parking System or SIP within the city. Under the system, Cellmax will be responsible for deploying, managing and operating all gazetted car park spaces under MBSJ's jurisdiction. According to its Bursa Malaysia filing, the appointment is for a duration of 10 years with an option for a further 5-year extension. The company will work alongside Rantayan Mesra Sdn Berhad or RMSB, a wholly owned unit of Menteri Besar Selangor Incorporated, which has been appointed as the SIP system provider under the same arrangement. Under the revenue sharing terms, Cellmax will receive 50% of all collections from parking and compounds, while MBSJ will receive 40% and RMSB will be allocated 10%. In a statement, its Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer William Tan Wei Loon said the collaboration underscores the company's dedication to helping local councils improve parking operations by leveraging advanced technology. He said the company's smart parking solutions had already achieved success in other cities. The initiative is also aligned with Selangor's broader smart city agenda. Asia's factory activity deteriorated in July as soft global demand and lingering uncertainty over U.S. tariffs weighed on business morale, clouding the outlook for the region's fragile recovery. Private surveys on Friday showed factory activity shrinking in export-driven Japan and South Korea, highlighting Asia's struggles amid U.S. President Donald Trump's threats to the global free trade system. The S&P Global Japan Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index PMI fell to 48.9 in July from 50.1 in June, while South Korea's factory activity shrank for a 6th straight month, with its PMI dropping to 48.0 in July from 48.7 in June. China's factory activity also declined as slower business growth led manufacturers to cut production, with the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI dropping to 49.5 from 50.4 in June.
New trade pressure, all cost burdens. How will Malaysia's plastic sector respond? With global shifts, is the industry ready to compete? Exports, ESG, survival. A frank look at where Malaysian plastic stands and where it's headed. Azaria Tagaya speaks with Malaysian Plastics Manufacturers Association President CC Chia only on Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
Fires destroyed 26 homes in Tawau. More from the local front after this breather.
Masuk hutan, selam lautan dan tinjau wildlife beraksi dalam Arabian Seas. Africa's Hunters musim pertama. Chasing the Rains. Africa's Hunters musim kedua. Alien Abyss. Layan Animal Documentary di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Thanks for staying with us. Police have crippled an international drug trafficking syndicate that used Malaysian waters as a transit route to neighboring countries. 10 individuals aged between 29 and 70 were arrested, and over 61 kilograms of methamphetamine and ecstasy pills worth 2 million ringgit were seized. The suspects were nabbed during 4 coordinated raids in Muar, Batu Pahat, and Cheras, Kuala Lumpur between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. on July 21st. 9 of the arrested, including a woman, were locals, while the remaining suspect is a foreign man. The syndicate, believed to be active since October last year, had been operating out of terrorist homes, which were used as drug storage facilities before being smuggled out by boat. The suspects admitted to receiving monthly payments ranging from 3,000 to 15,000 ringgit. 3 of them also have prior criminal records related to firearms and drugs. Among other items seized were vehicles, cash and luxury items, bringing total confiscations to over 700,000 ringgit. In Sabah, a syndicate's attempt to misappropriate 250,000 litres of subsidised diesel in Kota Kinabalu waters was foiled by authorities. The 4:30 a.m. raid on Thursday led to seizures worth over 45 million ringgit. 2 vessels were raided and 6 local men aged between 25 and 43, all crew members, were detained. Authorities found thousands of litres of subsidised diesel worth over 535,000 ringgit, believed to be used for illegal distribution. Also seized were 2 vessels, various equipment and relevant documents. Preliminary findings revealed both ships were actively involved in illegal diesel transactions in the area. The operation was the result of nearly a month of intelligence gathering and surveillance by the Marine Police alongside various enforcement agencies. The suspect who stabbed a police officer in Kuala Lumpur has been arrested to assist with investigations. Acting Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Dato' Muhammad Yusuf Jan Muhammad on Friday said a search of the 56-year-old suspect uncovered 3 plastic packets on his person containing powder and crystals believed to be drugs. The incident took place around noon at Pudu Market, Jalan U, while the victim, a member of the motorcycle patrol unit from the Pudu police station, was conducting crime prevention rounds with 4 other officers. During a routine check, the suspect suddenly stabbed the police officer in the abdomen with a knife. The suspect then attempted to flee but was apprehended shortly after. A knife believed to have been used in the attack was also seized. The injured officer was rushed to Hospital Chancellor Tuanku Muhriz in Cheras for further treatment. Meanwhile, Inspector General of Police Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail visited Corporal Muhammad Nazri at the hospital to show his support. The IGP's visit was a gesture of concern, providing moral support to the officer and his family while ensuring their welfare is prioritized. In Sabah, quick action by firefighters saved over 1,300 homes from being destroyed in a massive blaze at Kampong Kurnia Jaya Tawau on Friday. The 9:37 a.m. fire completely gutted 25 non-permanent homes and 1 semi-permanent structure. The incident occurred while most of the residents were at home. However, no casualties were reported as the occupants managed to escape in time. Viral videos showed residents rushing to salvage their valuable belongings. A total of 39 firefighters and 5 fire engines were deployed to the scene. The flames were fully brought under control by 10:14 a.m. and operations ended an hour later. The cause of the fire and estimated losses are still under investigation. A step closer to defend the title. The details when Nightline returns.
Engkau esok kau filekan bercerai dengan wasit. Kenapa you nak anak kan?
Ya, anak-anak. Tapi anak dengan you.
I tak boleh pregnant. I tak nak mengandung. Tolonglah Nisa. Kita sama-sama carikan isteri untuk Abang Wasil. Habis tu Kak Ita ni apa? Melawan. Nisa lah orang yang paling tepat. Habis tu? Sekarang ni Nisa pula yang nak kena jadi mangsa.
Kau nak madu dengan Nisa? Itu yang kau nak?
Asal? Tak boleh? Salah? Haram ke?
Aku masih sayangkan kau, faham tak?
Nisa buat semua ni demi Kak Ita, tahu tak?
Siapa pandai-pandai kahwinkan anak aku?
Dalam setiap pertandingan, kan ada yang menang, ada yang kalah.
Tak nak. Tak kira. Ita kena menang. Ita dah buat semua benda, dah prepare untuk menang. Tak boleh kalah-kalah. Ingat aku jealous. Kau jangan main gila dengan Zarita Mali.
Kau je dah 100 kg. Aku ni dah 100 kg. 200 kg tak payahlah nak terbang-terbang ni. Aku dah cuba lama dah tak naik-naik.
Kenapa kampung kita tiba-tiba kena serang ponjana?
Saya tahu macam mana nak selesaikan masalah.
Ini kalau jaring saiz S ni, Maya Karim bolehlah terangkat. Aku lambat lagi.
Muat turun dan layan tonton sekarang. Semua favourite anda di sini.
Onto the foreign front, U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy traveled to Gaza to inspect aid distribution as pressure mounts on Israel over its starvation policy in the war-torn Palestinian territory. Steve Witkoff and U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, visited aid distribution sites run by the controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation on Friday, with Huckabee saying the visit aimed to learn the truth about its operations. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, meanwhile, said Thursday that Witkoff would visit aid sites to help finalize the food distribution plan and, along with the ambassador, brief the president afterwards for final approval. The visit comes after another 24 people were killed across the strip on Friday, including 5 aid seekers, while more than 70 people were injured while waiting for food supplies in Khan Yunis. Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto pardoned two political rivals, a former trade minister and a senior politician from an opposition party, a few weeks after both were sentenced to jail. Law Minister Supratman Andi Aktas late on Thursday said Prabowo granted amnesty to Hasto Kristianto, Secretary General of the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle, revoking his 3.5-year prison sentence for bribery, though his conviction remains. Prabowo also granted an abolition to Thomas Tri Kasih Lembong, a former trade minister who was sentenced to 3.5 years for misusing sugar import permits, fully clearing him of both the charges and the prison sentence.
Presiden Prabowo Subianto memberi abolisi dan amnesti.
Japan on Friday recorded life-threatening heats of over 40 degrees Celsius for the third straight day. Weather officials said a high-pressure system brought sunny and extremely hot conditions to widespread areas. The city of Kuwana in the western prefecture of Mie was the latest to hit the mark, with the mercury soaring to 40.4 degrees. Temperatures also soared in other cities, hitting 39.3 degrees in Nishiwaki, Hyogo Prefecture, and 39.2 degrees in Hamamatsu, Shizuoka Prefecture. Dangerous levels of heat were also observed from Tokai in central Japan to Kyushu in the west. Following the extreme heat, heat stroke alerts were issued for 32 of Japan's 47 prefectures. Sports now and the 2025 MLBB Mid-Season Cup. Selangor Red Giants, OG Esports or SRGOG, are one step closer to defending their title after surviving a nerve-wracking semi-final, edging out M6 champions Onyx Philippines with a 3-2 win on Friday. The reigning champs got off to a flying start in Game 1, with gold laner Innocent scoring a maniac to secure a dominant 18-6 win in just 18 minutes. Onyx bounced back in Game 2 thanks to King Kong, who put on a masterclass with Lancelot to lead them to a 19-12 victory. Game 3 saw Stormy take charge, guiding SRGOG to a comprehensive 9-1 win to regain their lead. But Onyx refused to back down, leveling the series 2-2 with a sharp 15-4 victory in Game 4 to force a decider. In the all-important Game 5, SRGOG rose to the occasion with aggressive, confident play, closing out the series with a convincing 16-4 win to book their spots in the grand final. With this victory, the Malaysian side now stands a chance to secure back-to-back MSC trophies, while the Filipino representatives drop to the bronze medal match. On to bowling now and the 2025 Under-18 Asian Junior Championships. Malaysia's campaign is not over yet, with rising star Qurratu Ain Izdihar Muhammad Pozi eyeing a potential 5th gold in the Masters, the final leg of the tournament, which wraps up this weekend. The event features 2 blocks of competition, followed by a step ladder final. With 8 Malaysian girls qualified for the Masters, the country is virtually assured of at least 1 medal. After Block 1, Qurratu Ain sits second with 1,694 pins, just 5 behind Taiwan's Huang Xin-sen, while China's Li Yiru is third. Malaysia could even sweep the step ladder spots as Adelia Noor Irwan Shazali, Noor Sharafana Auni Shahrul Amri and Balkis Nordini Khairul currently occupy 4th through 6th positions. Block 2 is scheduled for Saturday, where only the top 3 will advance to the final showdown. that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, here's an athlete risking it all with a freestyle BMX stunt on a moving train in Poland. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.